This is the iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus, and even though I've only had a few minutes to check them out, they feel like they could be a bigger upgrade than last year's iPhone 14. The iPhone 15 is inheriting a lot of things from last year's 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max. Let's start with the Dynamic Island. So you might remember Apple announced the Dynamic Island last year, which debuted on the Pro models. And essentially this is a smaller secondary display that kind of sits where the notch used to be. And you can use that window to see bits of information without having to jump between apps as often. From what I can tell so far, nothing is different about the Dynamic Island this time. This is just Apple making it more accessible by bringing it to the regular models. But that's a big deal because it shows that this is something that Apple is really investing in for the iPhone. This is something that is now pretty much built into the default iPhone experience. So hopefully that means there's even more to come for the Dynamic Island down the road. The other thing that the iPhone 15 is inheriting from last year's Pro devices is the chip. It runs on the same A16 Bionic chip as last year's devices, which should hopefully boost some performance. We have not had enough time to really test that yet, but stay tuned for our full review and we'll definitely be sure to tell you more on that. Now, the other major thing that I think a lot of people probably have been waiting for is the arrival of USB-C. All of Apple's new iPhones have USB-C charging instead of Lightning, which means you can finally use the same cable to charge your Mac, your iPhone, your iPad if you have a newer model. It should make things a lot easier, and I'm personally very excited to not have to carry around my Lightning cable anymore. I'm also really digging the new design so far. If you take a look at the back of the iPhone 15, you'll notice there's this new, almost kind of cloudy, frosted look to the back of the phone. And it has a matte finish compared to last year's iPhone 14, which was more glossy, and I really like it. I think it gives it a unique look. It's almost kind of translucent, and most of all, it does not seem to pick up fingerprint smudges as easily. So if you're planning to use this phone without a case, you might be in better luck this year. Again, we've only had a few minutes with the phone, so we really can't say how well that lives up, but we'll be sure to try that out in our future review. Like the iPhone 14 Pro, the 15 and 15 Plus also have a 48 megapixel main camera. So that means you'll be able to capture higher resolution photos, and it's also important to note that these cameras will capture 24 megapixel resolution photos by default, which is still a pretty big jump from the 12 megapixel camera sensors we're used to on the regular iPhones. Of course, the Pro models have a lot more, as they should, for their higher price in terms of not only camera quality, but you'll get extra features like the action button and a titanium build. The iPhone 15 launches on September 22nd and starts at $799, just like last year's models. I'll have more to say about the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus in my full review, but so far I'm really enjoying seeing these high-end features like Dynamic Island and a higher resolution camera come down to Apple's cheaper iPhones. Don't forget to follow CNET for more Apple coverage. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.